Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Ad America. For those who have never been here before, Ad America is the American Cultural Center here in Jakarta. My name is Dina. I'm one of the e-guide here, and I will be more than happy to answer all of your questions regarding Ad America. And now I would like to give you a glimpse of our upcoming events. Next, we will have a special performance. #Divable, Music from the Unheard. It will be held on Friday, October 5th, starting at 6 p.m. until 8:30 p.m. So please, for those of you who doesn't have any plans tomorrow night, please come and join us and enjoy this performance together. And next, we will have another special performance. So after a successful performance last year here at Ad America, New Breeds is coming back. So on Saturday, they will have this special performance, New Breeds Volume 2, Finding Your Originality. So for those of you who enjoy hip-hop dance, please come and join us and enjoy this performance on Saturdays starting at 5:30 p.m. And these are the highlights of our events, and how to stay updated to our events. Simply visit our website at www.adamerica.or.id, click register and Facebook Connect, enter your name and email address, and you will be officially our member. And it's the benefit of becoming our member is you will get newsletter just once a week through your email. And of course, we are also very active with social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Stellar, and also YouTube channel. And for those of you who still like to tweet, please help spread the love by tweeting to us to @AdAmerica, and don't forget to use the hashtag #AdAmerica. And your tweet will appear on our live tweet wall on my left side. And to begin today's event, I would like to invite Her Excellency Ambassador Piper Campbell, Chargé d'Affaires U.S. Mission to ASEAN, for the opening remarks.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to start out by saying good afternoon not only to the folks who are here in the studio audience with me, but also to the folks who are connected with us virtually. I think that we have representatives from both Cambodia and Philippines, in addition to the students in the room. So sok sabayte to our Cambodian colleagues. And I have to admit, even though my first tour in the Foreign Service almost 30 years ago was in the Philippines, I can't remember how to say hello. So, but in any case, hello works in the Philippines as well. So nice to see you all. And I'm going to just start out by saying I understand that most of the audience here in the studio are university students, and I want to understand which parts of the greater Jakarta area you might be from. And so I'm going to do a little bit of a poll and ask you to raise your hand and tell me who's here from Depok. Do we have anybody from Depok? All right, a couple, excellent, very good. How about from Bogor? Good, excellent. Bekasi? Yeah. Tangerang? All right, we've got at least one person from each of the various areas so far. How about Bandung? Okay, there we go. All right, so we've got a bunch of people who didn't raise their hand. They have to be from someplace. So greater Jakarta. Okay, we've got Jakarta as well. Do we have anyone from anywhere else that I didn't mention? In America. That's my daughter up there. All right, we'll get to you later. Awesome. So before I came to Jakarta to be the Chargé d'Affaires at the U.S. Mission to ASEAN, my job was to run admission to the State Department. I was the main recruiter for the State Department, and I handled all of our internship and fellowship programs, as well as actually applications, people who wanted to join the State Department as a Foreign Service officer. So in that job, I both came to understand how absolutely important internships can be in terms of helping students to understand and get that exposure to a business setting so that you can both display your skills, show what you can do in a real life business setting, but also kind of test something out before you have to jump in with both feet, and so that you can understand, well, what does working in business, what does that feel like? What does working in the private sector, the public sector, what does working for a government, what does working for an embassy overseas, what kind of skills, what kind of jobs, what kind of responsibilities would you have? So I am a great fan of internships, and I am really pleased that today's session is going to be talking about the value and the importance of internships, but also starting to give you all the idea of how to develop a resume and how to sell yourself, how to market yourself in a resume. And that's a very important skill. And I'll also say, as somebody who's had the responsibility of looking at a lot of resumes, that most people don't do it well. 90% of resumes look just like every other resume. And the 10% that are original, the 10% that are thoughtful and creative, they really stand out. And so a big part of what we're going to do today is to help you understand what an original, creative, thoughtful resume looks like, and how that, that is such an important step as you think about finishing school over the next year or two, possibly, hopefully, exploring internship opportunities, and then launching yourself into the wide world of business, government, or all the other things that I'm sure that you will do and do super well in the future. If you're applying to a US company, and one of the things that we're most focused on right now is the internship opportunities that the US Mission to ASEAN, the US ASEAN Business Council, and US companies in Asia are offering through the US ASEAN internship program. If you're applying to an internship at a company like that, one of the most important things is that you're able to present yourself well in the English language. And so the first part of today's presentation is going to be talking about some tricks, some thoughts in terms of presenting yourself well, both in your written product, in your resume, but then hopefully also a little bit those tips and tricks, and thinking about how to present yourself well in an interview. And so we're going to talk about how to present yourself well in English in a resume form. And then we're also going to talk about what we're going to hear from a representative of a U.S. company, Procter & Gamble, and hear about what somebody who's in the position of hiring, what they look for, what they need to know, what they need to understand when they're reviewing resumes. And that's invaluable information. You guys are investing an hour or two of your time to be here, but what you're going to get out of these two sessions in terms of that really practical advice, I think is going to hopefully set you up. And we look forward over the next year or 2 years to hearing that some of you are among the initial crop, the people, the trailblazers, who are going to be getting these new internship opportunities that are presented through the new US ASEAN internship program. And so we're really excited about today's program, and we're really excited about the internship opportunities that are highlighted on the US ASEAN website, as well as the USABC website. So I'm going to just check my notes and make sure there's nothing else that I was supposed to cover before I hand over to others. I think I covered all that. This is the bad side about having more than one page of notes. I guess just the one thing I wanted to stress is I talked about why I think internships are so important, but I want to go back and stress that yet again, and to say that there's so many great reasons to do an internship. Sometimes when students especially are considering doing an internship, their parents or their friends might say, why would you do an internship? Why don't you get a job? You have to get a job right away. But the time that you invest in an internship is going to build your skills, and I very strongly believe that it's going to help you to get a better job and to have a more nuanced, a better informed understanding of the opportunities and of the different types of of careers that you could pursue. And so I believe that internships are time that's really well invested. So I just wanted to stress that, that getting your foot in the door through an internship is building your skills and building your marketability in a really important way. And even if you decide that even if having been an intern, you're not recruited directly by that company, you'll leave with the beginnings of a network of professional contacts. And I hope that that's another thing that you think about as you think about internship opportunities, is how to start now to build your network of professional contacts, and how to begin to understand what networking is about and how to do that. So I think that I think that's all that I needed to say, all I needed to cover this afternoon, excuse me. And we're going to go ahead and do a photograph with everybody before going on to the next part, which is the asking our friend, the English language fellow, to speak in more detail about how to present yourself in a good resume. So let's do the photograph.
I would like to invite the speakers, Ibu Lina and also Ibu Rebekah, to join on stage for the photo session, and also for the moderator, Mario, and also Mr. Peter Torin from Connect, and also the Connect team. Please join for the photo sessions. All right, in the middle, please. And to begin today's presentation, I would like to invite our moderator for today, Mario Masaya, Senior Manager ASEAN and SME of USABC.
Thank you, Lina, for the giving me the stage. And my name is Mario, and I'm with the US SME Council. And as everybody in the room will be, when you get to the stage, you will feel a little bit nervous. So I am nervous now, and that doesn't hold me not to come to the stage and talk. So hopefully, after the speakers, I would also hear from you your challenges, and in creating a resume, so that you can share with us, so that we can learn from you, and we can get a great discussion. I wanted to, first of all, recognize Ambassador Campbell for the support for this great program that US ASEAN Business Councils and US Mission to ASEAN developed together. And secondly, at some point, Ambassador, I would probably ask your 2 cents as well, because Peter just told me, oh, I didn't know that Ambassador is actually, doing in the State Department is doing the screening for the applicants in the State Department. But that will be very, very useful as well for all of us here, because you must have seen thousands of internship applicants, right? I don't want to take a lot of time. I was told that I have to greet people from Philippines and Vietnam and Cambodia, excuse me. And I'm not sure where they are, but I know we are in the digital economy era now. So hello everyone from Philippines and from Cambodia, and I hope you enjoy this session. And also for those of you who watch this through Facebook Live, welcome. And I hope we don't actually bore you when you are watching the Facebook Live and doing your own resume and then writing your own resume. Oh, there you are. Hello. Okay, so I should look here, right? Hello, people from Manila and from Cambodia. Welcome to the at America in Jakarta here. So I hope you enjoy the session, and please ask questions and tell us what you think about this. Okay. Without further ado, I wanted to welcome the first speaker and the second speaker, both of them on the stage, because I need my friend Lina to accompany me for 75 minutes session by Rebekah. So Lina and Rebekah, I would like to invite both of you to come to the stage with me now so that I'm not alone. Okay. Please have a seat, Rebekah. Great. So first of all, we will have Rebekah, who's an English fellow at University of Indonesia, to give us some 50 minutes presentation. You don't need to take a whole 50 minutes, but it's very good if you can. But after that, then we're gonna have 25 minutes of question and answer, which I hopefully, like I said, hopefully we can hear more from you and from in Philippines and in Cambodia. And then we will go to Lina to also tell us more about your experience at P&G, Procter & Gamble, not how to use Head and Shoulder and Pantene and others, but how to apply to U.S. multinational companies. Without further ado, Rebekah, I'll give the floor to you for a very long one hour speech.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope this is working. Just to let you know, I use my hands a lot when I talk, so I apologize if the microphone ends up over there. I promise I will bring it back to my mouth so you can hear me. But as he mentioned, I'm a professor at the University of Indonesia. I'm also a professor from the United States, so I like teaching. I like English, and I like language, and I like connecting people using the English language, and resumes are a perfect example of that. So this is a topic I'm passionate about. This is a topic I care about, and when I care about things, I get excited, and I move my hands, and my voice gets very passionate, so please bear with me. I hope that this is a helpful, practical, useful presentation for you, those who are in the studio, and also those who are joining us through the live stream. My goal is to help you feel confident in the job search. So, in the room right now, who would like to get a job? Please raise your hand if you're interested in getting a job. I would say just about everyone who is here. Oh, thank you. Which one is up and which is down? Okay, I'll figure this tech out as I go. All right, so about everybody said they want to get a job. How many of you feel 100% confident in getting a job? We have one person, and I think she's paid to be here, so that doesn't count, okay? The majority of you, I as well, you get a little nervous when it comes to job applications. The resume, the cover letter, the interview, the waiting, okay? It makes us nervous. So what I want to do is give you practical tools that help relieve some of that stress. Take away that nervousness so that you can feel confident that you are hireable. You have practical skills. You will benefit a company through an internship and hopefully a long-term job. So I titled my piece, Right to Get Hired, because that's our goal, and I'm going to give us the tools. First, let me make sure this works. Yes. All right. My husband thinks this quote is too long, so I apologize. I will try to read it quickly and succinctly. A successful resume matches recruiters' and hiring managers' expectations, clearly conveys that you are a good fit for the role, and above all, it is easy to read and understand. A lot of times, we just want to talk about ourselves in our resume. So we write 3 or 4 pages, and it's cluttered and it's disorganized. And even if we have the skills, the recruiters look at this and they have no idea where to find the information. So what I want to help you do is to match your skills with the job description. Make sure that the skills you have are applicable for the job. But also, make sure that your formatting, your font, your spelling, all of that is clear and easy to read. So those are our 3 goals. Just to cover over, we're going to talk about the resume purpose. Why do we have resumes? What is the purpose of resumes? Others tend to frustrate us and confuse us. No, there's an actual purpose. Then I'll go into the technicalities of font and type and all of those little gritty details that you hate but you need. I'm going to cover those, I promise. And then at the end, we'll briefly cover cover letters and where both cover letters and resumes can take you. So this is a brief outline of where we'll go. All right, what is the purpose of a resume? I know most of you can read this, but for those who it's a little far or the type isn't bold enough, the purpose of a resume is to communicate your skills to the employer. So, employers want to know where you have worked, when you worked, and what responsibilities you had in each role that you apply. Clear. Where, when, what responsibilities. When we distill it down to the purest purpose, this is what we have. Resumes are snapshots of who you are. They're the front cover. If you're a book, this is the front picture. It's not the table of contents. It's not the exciting middle part of the book. It's not the 17th chapter. It's the snapshot at the front. It's what draws the recruiters and the bosses in to want to learn more about you. Do not write a novel when you're trying to write a resume. Your resume should be efficient, practical, clear working history. So, first thing to do when you are applying for a job, applying for an internship, the first thing you do is not write down all of your skills. How clever you are, how good at Microsoft you are. No, the first thing you do when you apply for a job is you read the job description. You don't know how to put your application together unless you know the skills that are required. It seems simple, but read and reread the internship description until you have those skills and requirements memorized. If you don't know what they want, you can't deliver. So number 1, read the job description. Look at keywords that are used in the job description. Okay, so I just give a couple examples. There are pages and pages you can find, but it's more important that you find keywords in the job description, not just keywords on the internet. Remember, make sure you match your skills with exactly what the internship wants. For example, self-directed. That means you can work autonomously. You don't need your boss to hold your hand and walk you through every day, every job. Self-directed means you have independence, critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, and you don't need someone to watch over your shoulder the whole time. If we want to talk about verbs, analyze. A lot of you are going to be interested in tech companies, science companies, up and coming. Tech is the new thing. Well, it's been the new thing for a long time. But they want to know that you can analyze data. Analyze is a very strong word to use. Make sure it's truthful, but say, yes, I analyze data. I'm capable of that. Also, create. Are you able to create data? Are you able to create new content? If you are, put the word create or creative. One of the wonderful things about English, also one of the frustrating things, is that our nouns can become verbs, our verbs can become adjectives. So you can say, I create, or you can say, I am creative. There's a lot of different ways you can express who you are in English. Talk about leadership. Oh, internships, jobs, everyone wants leaders. Tell them how you have led in the past or currently? Talk about your managing skills. Can you help direct other people, not just yourself? Can you work in a team? Can you help other people accomplish their tasks? Managing skills are extremely important. Another word, another buzzword for you is committed. When a company hires you, either for an internship or for the future long-term job, they want to know that you are committed to the job they assign you. You're not going to get bored 3 weeks in and quit. Everyone complains about the millennial generation, getting bored, quitting, moving on from jobs. You want to stand out. Tell these companies, tell these programs and organizations that you are committed to the job you're assigned, that you're committed to being self-directed. You're committed to creativity. You're committed to managing and leading, and that you are dedicated. So those are some key words to look through. Review requirements. Okay, there's a big difference between required and preferred. Required is a necessity. You have to have this skill or this trait. Preferred is you don't have to. We would like it, but we won't not hire you. So I have 4 examples here. Bilingual, able to work 40 hours, energetic and creative. Would anyone in the studio audience like to tell me which 2 of these are requirements? Come on, louder. Bilingual, able to work 40 hours. I don't think they're going to negotiate your working hours. They want you there from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. That's not something you get to choose. That is a required trait or a required scheduling. Also, for most jobs, bilingual. Where I come from in the States, I'm from Michigan. My state looks like a hand. I love Michigan. In a lot of jobs in my state, you need to be bilingual in Spanish and English because we have a very high percentage of Spanish-speaking citizens. So a lot of jobs, you need to be able to speak both fluently. I could say I'm bilingual, but I'm not. I have hola, and that's about as far as it goes. So I can't say I'm bilingual. That's a requirement for the job. I'm not going to apply to that because I don't have that skill. And by reading the job description, I know that I'm not qualified. Or if I am qualified, I know that I have very strong traits that they need. Energetic and creative are preferences. They would like you to be energetic. You know, they don't have to get you coffee every hour on the hour. They like you to be self-energized. But it's more important to them that you can work 40 hours a week and that you're bilingual. So know the difference between required and preferred. Third thing to do before you even write a single word of your resume is to research similar job descriptions. Which companies are hiring interns? Are they similar companies? Are they in a different field? Which companies offer research opportunities if you're interested in research? Or maybe design, you're really interested into media design, digital design, and you want an internship that offers development in media design or research. Depending on what you want, look for what other opportunities are out there so you can compare and contrast different internship and job opportunities. And the third question to ask, are other companies requiring the same skills? If I like company A, and it requires that I'm bilingual, can work 40 hours a week, and work weekends, and company B requires that I'm bilingual, and I have to work 40 hours a week, but I don't have to work weekends, well, maybe I'm going to look at company B. It's better to know your options. Don't only look at one job description. Read them, compare them, see which fit your interests, see which offer you the most personal and professional development before you even write a single word on the page. So the first thing we do is read the job description, analyze the keywords, know the difference between required and preferred, and research similar positions. Whew. That's the introduction. Are you guys ready to actually talk about writing your resume now? I've wasted a lot of time talking about fluff. All right, let's get into it. Skill summary. As we go through this, I want you to think about your resume from the top down. I'm giving you the visualization of what you start with to what you end with. So, when I was applying for school internships so long ago, because I am very, very mature and professional, we were told to put objectives at the top of our resume. An objective was a statement saying what I want from a job. For example, when I was applying for writing jobs, when I first graduated university, I wanted to be a writer. So my objective talked about different writing opportunities I wanted. I, Rebekah Williamson, want a job that offers me journalistic opportunities to develop my voice and travel the political sphere, period. That was my objective. That is not what is recommended nowadays. In my research, specifically with Business Insider in America, articles as recent as September 4th, 2018, they don't want you to put an objective. They want you to put a skill summary. And what the difference is between a skill summary and an objective. An objective is self-focused. What I want from the job, what I can gain. A skill summary is telling the employer what you can offer them. It's similar, you're talking about skills, opportunities, but you're reversing the focus. Don't focus on yourself. Focus on what you can offer the company, what skills you bring that are valuable and necessary for their company. Think of it as your professional snapshot. So, you want to persuade the company that out of all of the applications they look at, and they will look at hundreds, if not thousands, why you? Why should they pick you? And the first thing they look at is your skill summary. So you want to make your skill summary an excellent, efficient view into what you offer. In your skill summary, you talk about what job you're targeting. If I want to be a journalistic intern, I say that in my job summary. I say, I'm applying for the job of journalistic intern, but I don't end with that. I continue with what I'm great at. It might feel sort of weird for me. Resumes are sort of weird because I feel braggy, I don't want to boast. My mom always taught me to be humble. But your resume, you're trying to persuade someone to pay you thousands of dollars, or in internships, maybe not, but thousands of dollars worth of experience. So you have to tell them that you are great. Be honest about it. We'll talk about that later. Honesty is so important in your resume, but it's okay to share some of the skills you're very proud of, things that you're very experienced and feel like an expert in. So talk about why you're great and also why you're qualified. This goes back to the job description. If you read the job description with the requirements and preferences, and you've matched your skills with the job, you know you're qualified. Say that. I'm qualified to work at your company. because my experience in analyzing data for the past 3 years gives me the skill set to excel in your company. Do you guys know what an elevator pitch is? It's a business term. I'll explain it quickly. How long do you often spend in an elevator? Once you're in the elevator, you've pushed your floor, you spend maybe 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how tall your building is and how slow the elevator is. But an elevator pitch is a business concept that in the time you step into the elevator and the time you step off, you can persuade the person in the elevator with you of an idea. So this is for people who are trying to start new jobs, entrepreneurs, people who are excited about innovation and creativity. What we do with this for a resume is imagine that you get to be with your future employer in the elevator for 30 seconds, maybe up to a minute. Your skill summary is exactly this. It is a succinct, meaning short, and persuasive sales pitch as to why you are the best candidate. You will be the best employee for that company. You want to convince them that you are unique, that your skills are powerful, and that you will be a modern asset in the ever-changing world. Okay? What will you provide them? Remember, we're shifting the focus. You're not telling them what they should offer you. You're telling them how you will benefit their company. So this is an example. As I'm talking about elevator pitches and years of experiences, maybe you're getting nervous and saying, you know, I'm just fresh out of university. I don't have a lot of experience in the professional world. That's okay. Use the experiences you have. You are all qualified. You all have useful skills. This is an example of someone who's applying for a waitstaff position. Okay? Waitstaff position requires good resumes just as much. So this is their skill summary. It's short, it's only 5 bullet points, but it gives an overview of the skills and experience this person can bring to the restaurant. Over here, the last one says, earned Employee of the Month 6 times in 2 years. Again, the humble person in me is saying, oh, I would never want to talk about that. But your company wants to know that. Even if you're not applying to be a waiter, you're applying to be an intern in a tech company. This is actually really important. That you were awarded Employee of the Month more than once. They kept seeing how dedicated, how committed, how energetic you were. Those are skills that translate to all sorts of different jobs, not just waitstaff. So learn to view your experiences and your skills through the lens, through the perspective of your employer. Here's one of someone who's already in the financial realm. Okay, this person is a financial analyst talking about undertaking complex assignments. You can use broad terms here. You don't have to talk about just one project you've had or just one job. The waiter talked about that because that was their main job experience. So they focus specifically on their waitstaff experience. But if you have a lot of different experiences and you don't want to focus on one job you've had, summarize. You possess practical knowledge, operate with a strong sense of urgency, thrives in fast-paced setting. If I'm an employer, I know that this person can think on their feet. This person is self-directed. This person is decisive. And even if I'm in, I don't know, if I'm in marketing, if I'm in design, I would want this person on my team. My job has nothing to do with finance. I'm a teacher, but I want to work with this person. Make yourself attractive. You already are attractive. Show your attractiveness to your employer. Again, you might say, but Rebekah, I'm only a student. Should I include a skill summary? And I'm going to leave that up to you. It is your decision because it is your resume. But I think it's something that you can talk about past volunteer experience. You don't have to get paid to be experienced. Volunteering is an excellent source of professional experience you can put on a resume. Have you been awarded academic accomplishments? Put that in your skill summary. That tells the employer that you are committed to studying, you're dedicated, you work hard, you can work in a team. Were you on student government? Were you a part of clubs or activities or organizations on your campus? Was there any critical or relevant coursework? Going back to the example of me applying for a journalist internship, I took a business writing course in university. I would put that, excelled in my business writing course with a 4.0 or whatever. Make sure it's truthful. But it's okay to pull out and highlight different experiences you had or to generalize. If you don't feel that you have this area from your university, this area of experience, then you don't have to put a skill summary. But I really encourage you to try. Skill summaries are what the modern company is looking for, what modern American companies expect when they look at a resume. Okay. Moving on, we finished with the skill summary. Now we're actually talking, so skill summaries at the top. Next is the work experience. Relevant job experience. When I applied to be a food writer, right out of university, I was a food writer for a while. It was an excellent job. I ate food and I wrote about it and I got paid for it. So everyone should do that at some point in their life. But what I did not include was that I used to be a horseback riding coach. Now, I had done that up until a year before I applied for my new job, but it wasn't relevant. So you don't have to put every job you've ever had. Make sure that the skill sets correlate. Writing about food and riding horses, not that similar, okay? So, in yellow, I put the main points. In black, I put questions for self-reflection. So, in yellow, reverse chronological order. Most of you know this by now, but just to reinforce, when we write a resume, we begin with the most recent job and we move backwards in time. So if you have a job right now, that is the first job you talk about on your resume. Clear start and end dates. If you've done volunteer experiences or internships, those tend to be shorter than full-time jobs. It's okay to include those, but make sure that you also include the month. If you did a summer intensive internship, don't say internship 2016, because you didn't do it for a whole year. But it's okay to say May through August 2016. Make sure you're clear with the dates in case they ask about that future and say, oh, I saw that you worked as an intern for 2 years. No, it was 2 months. Make sure they have all of the accurate information first. Beneath your job title, you should have 3 to 5 bullet points. What did you accomplish in this specific position? Did you analyze data? Did you manage a team? Did you create material? Think about specific things that you did in that job. Don't do more than 5. We need to keep it succinct again. But think about actual specific things you did for that job and bullet point it underneath the title. Here comes the writer in me. Employees want to hear active voice. not passive voice. Do not put data was analyzed, but put analyzed data. Make the verb you. I analyzed the data. The data wasn't analyzed. I did the analyzing. Make it active. You were an active agent in this job. Verb tenses matter. If you're doing it in the present, use present tense. If you did it in the past, use past tense. The only time you should be using present tense is for the job you're doing now. I analyze data now, but I created data in the past. Make sure you keep those consistent. It's a small thing, but employers will notice. And no personal pronouns. This is sort of the weird thing about resumes. The employer knows that you are the person doing this. So you don't say, I analyzed data. You would say, analyzed data. They know it's not your friend who did it, or your mom, or your roommate. They know you analyzed the data. So it's irrelevant. It's not useful to put in pronouns. Okay. Next, if we're thinking we have skills summary, education experience, work experience. Now, education. Show off your smarts. All right, educational content for you at this point is your university experience as well as high school. If you are freshly graduating from university, it is okay to put your high school experience. If you're 2 to 3 to 4 years out of university, it's not usually appropriate to put your high school experience on there. You don't need to put your high school GPA. You don't need to say that you were on the sports team in high school if you're 28. If you're 21 and 20 and you're applying, yeah, that's okay because that's relevant to you. It's recent enough. Talk about your major, your area of focus. What did you study? How many years have you studied it? Started in 2012 through 2017. Belong in university. Did you have volunteer experience? Did you attend a conference? Small things like that actually matter to employers. If they see that every fall and every spring you attended a technology conference in Thailand, even if you didn't present, you were committed to that industry, that's important. Put it on. For high school, focus more on academic awards you had. If you participated in clubs, especially if you were on a leadership team in a club, if you helped manage and lead, those are really strong things you want to highlight. It's okay to talk about your GPA. I think this might be a little bit different country by country. In America, we don't usually put our university GPA unless it's like a 3.6, 3.7 and above out of a 4.0 scale. I think it might be a little different in Indonesia that you put your GPA no matter what. But just to let you know that if you're looking at a friend's resume and their GPA looks a little bit different, they have it or they don't, know that it is a cultural difference. Here's an example of someone's university education experience. At the top, they told us the name of their institute. They told us the years of study and the major of study. Right at the top. That's what the employers want to see. Put it first. Then they led into academic achievements, putting the year. Volunteer placements. What year was it? What was the company? Where was it? Your educational summary does not have to be 3 pages in and of itself. It needs to be short, succinct, and to the point. You are hireable. You just need to show it, okay? We're gonna move a little bit faster here. We're talking through format techniques, the visual aesthetics of a resume. This is the nitty-gritty. These are the detail aspects. How you format and lay out the content is just as important as the actual content. You could be a rock star employee, but if your resume is tight and packed and tiny font, you're not going to get hired. What you say is just as important as how you say it. 6 seconds. 6 seconds is, on average, how long a recruiter will read a resume. If it's humbled and jumbled and tight and small, they're not going to spend more than 6 seconds on it, even if you're a rock star. So what you want to do is you want to give them what we call visual breathing room. This means white space. You don't want every inch of your resume to be covered in text. That's too much, it's overwhelming, and they don't have time. They're not going to read every word. So you want to present it in a visually pleasing way. On the technical side, your font. If it's a header, so if it's your educational institute, if it's your job title, it should be between 13 and 16 point font. If it's the main body text, it should be between 10 and 12. Do not go smaller than 10. If you need to go smaller than 10 to fit it on a page, you have too much information and you need to cut. Don't go bigger than 12. They don't need glasses to read this, okay? They don't need to look back. Different fonts that are acceptable are Arial, Helvetica, Times New Roman. These are the top 3, but there are others. Do not use fancy fonts. Do not make it look beautiful, Shakespeare. No. That is difficult to read. It looks fun, but it's hard to read, and again, it's 6 seconds. It might seem boring, but these are the fonts that the employers are going to read. Text. Short paragraphs for descriptions. Do not write novels. Bullet points for highlights. Room for white space. You don't want to overwhelm their eyes. Short paragraphs, bullet points, no more than 5, and room for white space. On the technical side, it should be 1 page. If you are freshly out of university within the last 2 or 3 years, you don't need more than a page. If you've been in the industry for more than 10 years, yeah, you can maybe go to a 2nd page. But that's a different talk. That's a different lecture, okay? You need to keep it under a page. Your margins, so the space on the side, should not be smaller than 1/2 inch. If your writing is going off the page, it's too much. If your employer tries to print your resume, that's going to cut off some of the words. And it's also, again, visually overwhelming. So make sure that your margins are minimum 1/2 inch. And it needs to be easy to scan. I need to be able to run my eyes over your paper and get the key information quickly. Avoid. These are things to not do on your resume. So, typos. Typos. What are typos? Mistakes. Misspelling. Spell check. Grammar check. Punctuation check. I had my husband punctuation check this presentation. So if there's mistakes, blame it on him, okay? First, you check it, then your friend checks it, and then you check it again. It is so important. It might seem small. Oh, I put a comma instead of a period, but it's not a big deal. Actually, that is a big deal. An employer is going to look at that and say, they don't pay attention to details. I need them to analyze this research. If they can't pay attention to details in their own resume, they're not going to pay attention to 1,000 numbers on a page. I'm done with that. So it really does matter. Lies. Do not lie on your resume, okay? If you didn't do it, don't say that you did. If you didn't have that internship, don't put it on your resume. Okay, if you didn't do that job skill, if you didn't manage a team, don't say that you did. And if you don't have it, don't say you do. If you're not energetic, don't say that you are. If you're not extroverted, don't say that you are. Okay, be honest about who you are because, again, you are hireable. You as a person have skills that are important. You don't need to lie about them. So, I'm sorry that it's a little blurry, but this is a cartoon of an employer and an applicee. And she's saying, it's just that I've never seen book smarts on a resume before. Book smarts just means you're smart. Okay, it's a fake way of boosting your own ego. Don't put made up words on your resume either. Don't have irrelevant personal information. They don't need to know your favorite color. They don't need to know your relationship status. They also don't need a link to non-relevant personal social media. If you have an Instagram account that highlights your technological skills, that's okay to link. If you have a LinkedIn account, absolutely put that on your resume. Don't put your Twitter if you're just talking about whatever, Beyonce, okay? They don't need to know it. They're not going to hire you. Don't put references on request. They know you have references. If they want them, they will ask for them. All right, you were hopefully given an example of a bad resume as you walked in. I took out the picture and I took out her name, but can anyone tell me why this is a bad resume? There's a couple of reasons, but I would love to hear your opinion. I have talked enough. Fancy fonts. There's all sorts of different fonts. There's one in purple, one in blue, one in green. Ugh, my eyes want to take a nap after looking at this. What else is wrong with this? Formatting. There is too much white space. Okay, that's too much space. What else? Photo. Don't include a photo of yourself. Unless it's specifically asked for in the job description, don't include a photo. Colors, all sorts of colors. Keep it simple, keep it black font. Okay? She also puts her social security number. Don't put your social security or governmental ID number. Okay? Don't put a bunch of hearts at the top. That's unprofessional. Okay, this is an example of a good resume. Can you please tell me why this is a good resume? It's simple. What else? Come on. Thanks, husband. It's one page. Come on. My husband has to talk. You guys have to talk. It's one page. It's easy for me to look and see the important information because the important information, as we talked about, is a bigger font. It's a bigger size. It's dark, it's bold, so my eyes pick up on it first. She starts with a professional summary, goes into her work experience, and ends with her education. At no point does she have more than 5 bullet points. She keeps it concise. She does not use personal pronouns. And her verb tenses are consistent. Cover letter. I'm going to go quickly through this. It is not a regurgitation of your resume. Regurgitation is a disgusting word that means the vomit of your resume. It should not look exactly like your resume. It should be in 3 sections. The first paragraph should be an introduction. How did you find out about the job? I went to a job fair and I saw your booth and I talked to your person. If you know someone at the company and they have given you permission, you can mention that you know them. What interests you about the job? Again, not what the job can give you, but what you can offer the job. For example, I see in your job description that you have a lot of technological opportunities. I studied computer science in my undergraduate degree, and I have a lot of experience managing computer science teams. Okay? That's matching the job description with an interesting thing. Prove that you are a good fit in your second paragraph. Match the specific job descriptions and requirements with your skills and experiences. If they want you to have data analyzation, you tell them that you have and show it. In my past 3 jobs, I've analyzed data 3 hours a day for 5 days a week. Make it simple, make it short, make it accurate. Be direct. No less than 3 and no more than 5 examples. Third, I put second. Obviously, I blame the husband on that one. Highlight the value you bring. Express skills that are not previously mentioned. If you are an energetic person, but you couldn't find a place to put that on your resume, put it in your cover letter. If you work really well with teams, put that on your cover letter. It gives you a little bit more space to give examples, to be descriptive. And finally, give a specific timeline of actions. At the end, say, thank you for reading my cover letter. I will contact you in a week to hear about updates. That way, in a week, you have an excuse to contact them again and ask if they've seen your resume. It also shows them that you're committed. You said you would contact them, and you did. You're following through on your promises. This is proving to them that you're committed and dedicated. And close with confidence. I look forward to talking with you soon. They should want to meet you. At the end of reading your resume, at the end of reading your cover letter, they should want to know more about you, not less. This is, remember, just the front cover of who you are and what you bring to their company. They're just tools to get you into the room for the interview. Where can your resume take you? Your office can be in Jakarta, but it could be in Sydney, could be in DC. Resumes are the first step to internships, to jobs, to exchange programs, to getting you all over the world. Your resume can be seen by people in different countries, in different time zones, in different languages. It's not just this frustrating piece of paper that you spend hours and hours at. It's an opportunity for communication with people across the globe. And that is my final slide. So thank you. I think it's time for questions. Can I sit down? Do I stay standing?
You can maybe it's just 15 minutes, right? So, well, this is that is a very inspiring speech, and I was really surprised you end exactly when that screen told us. But I wanted to open it up for questions. And I got like 5 minutes briefing to tell me that, you know, you should open it to the Facebook Live and then people from Cambodia and Philippines before I open the question from my friends here. And that is not, I got like a cue there from Ibu Dewi that there's no question from Facebook Live or from Cambodia. From Facebook, not yet. Okay. And I wanted to open it then to Cambodia folks or Philippines students that wanted to have questions. If you have any questions, this is the right time to raise your hand and identify yourself. But maybe I will, okay, then I will start from my own questions because I have so many questions here. And then so that you know, I've listened carefully to what you said, and I'm gonna apply to at America very soon. But then after my questions, I will open it up to people here in this room, and if there is any questions from my friends in Philippines and Cambodia, please raise your hand and let us know, and we're gonna stop here and then put you as a priority. So I'm Rebekah. To start off, I've taken 3 pages of notes and half pages of questions, but I'm just gonna ask one question for now, which is actually you were talking about, you know, we need to be confident in our resume, but we also need to be I think at some point also humble, and please don't lie. There are a lot of, I think these days, a lot of people sending resumes, not including me, that putting a lot of lies probably, and some sort of exaggeration of, or people are trying to say, I manage 150 people, which actually just 15 people, for example. How would you actually, in your opinion, how do you determine, this is the line of, you shouldn't exaggerate, and then to show that you are arrogant as well, and then you need to be confident. How do you see that?
Great question. I think the question you have to ask yourself is, can I prove it? Okay, so if you said I've managed 150 employees, okay, and you get hired for that job, and they ask you to manage 250, they expect that you can do that easily. You already managed 150, and if you get confused and falter because you only managed 10 people in the past, that's proof that you lied. So think about the consequences of your lie. Okay, I get hired for the job, but I don't have the skill I said I did. People are going to find out quickly. It's not something you can lie about every day. So think about, can I lie about this skill for the rest of my job career? And if you can't, don't put it on your resume. It's not bad to say that you've managed 15 people. That's a difficult job too. You don't have to exaggerate that. 15 people are just as frustrating as 150 people. So it's okay to excel in the skills you have, even if they feel small scale. It's still a skill. So I would say, if you feel like you're on the line of lying and telling the truth, think about putting yourself in that situation where you're hired to do the skill you said you have, but you don't. How awful will you feel failing after you get the job, as opposed to just being honest before you get the job?
That's a very, very, very good explanation, actually. So I wanted to open it up to friends here. Please raise your hand if you have any questions. And first of all, please identify yourself, and then just straight to the question so we can have a good discussion. And they can ask in Bahasa Indonesia, and someone can translate. And I've seen through a question over here, and I'm gonna go to the boy first, because lately I've been getting a lot of shouting at me, trying to give preferences to boy because of the gender issue. But please identify yourself and your question, please.
Thank you for the time. My name is Rista. I want to ask a question. Maybe it's not too important, but I just want to ask. What do you think? Is it recommended to put our professional photo in our resume? And if it is recommended, why? And if it's not, why? And when should we put our photo in our resume? Thank you.
Well, that's a very important question. So it's a very good question.
Yeah,
So
I think that's a great question. When in the example of the bad resume, she had a picture. I took it out of, for her privacy, but it was pixelated, it was a bad angle, it was not a professional photo. So definitely don't include unprofessional photos. But for certain jobs, they are going to ask you to include a photo, and I think that comes with reading the job description. But it also depends on the job itself. If you are going to be in sales, working with customers daily, they might want to see what you look like. How professional can you dress? Do you have a good smile? Are you welcoming when customers come in? Okay, are you kind of schlumpy, you don't do your hair, or you look like you haven't showered in days? Well, that's important for a sales job. If you are a computer programmer and you're sitting behind a computer all day, like my brother, it doesn't matter if you include a picture so much. So I would say that's up to you. Definitely read the job description. A lot of jobs, if they want you to have a professional photo, will say, please include photo. But also use it up to your judgment. If it's a sales position, if it's a marketing position where you're working with customers face-to-face on a daily basis, then I think it's okay to include a professional photo.
Thank you. Thank you for the questions. Because I'm the moderator, so I'm gonna give you the time. But I have a follow-up question to that. Actually, if, for example, I applied for as a designer, and I design my resume not as neat and as boring as that is, what would you say? Would it encourage, or just?
Excellent question. This is something that I've talked about a lot. A lot of my friends are in the creative industry in America. Okay, they're professional photographers. They run their own companies, design companies, and their resumes look different than mine. In the academic realm, it's very important that my resume looks like the boring one. Okay, it's okay to say it is boring. If you're going into the design realm, a design internship or kind of an entry-level design position, I think it's okay to be creative. Remember that shouldn't change the truthfulness, but I do think it's okay to add a little bit more color. I would encourage you to keep your font black. You can add color in other ways. You can have maybe a backdrop that might be nice. You can include a photo, or I don't know, I'm not a design person, so I don't have perfect examples, but I would encourage you to keep your font black, simply because of the ease of reading, the ease of printing. If you make your font like yellow and someone's trying to print it, it's not going to print well. So think about the practical side of what hands your resume is going to be in. But if you're going into design and creativity and arts, it's okay to have fun and make it stylistically reflect what you want to bring to the design world, but still make it readable. Remember, what you say is as important as how you say it.
Thank you for that.
Can
Very
I
good.
add one more?
Oh,
responding his
course.
question. So I think practically, I just shared the experience in PNG, right? So how we review the resume, usually we don't see the picture. So ideally, you don't need to put the picture because we want to avoid any bias. You don't want to judge the individual even before you submit your applications or following the next process. So it's better to make it short, like one pager without any photos. So that's how PNG works.
Thank you, Lina. I'm gonna go to the lady in red that wanted to ask questions. And after that, I'm gonna go to the Cambodia audience that have questions. But please identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Adeline, and I want to ask from Rebekah's presentation. Someone told me that it's easier and better to get a job through employees' recommendation. And I want to ask how to ask for employees' recommendation. First, if the employees is already our friend. And the second is if the employees is not yet our friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebekah.
Great. A statistic I did not add to my presentation, but I did research and find to be true, that about 90% of hires include referrals. Okay, so include that personal connection of someone saying, hey, I already work for Procter & Gamble. I know Rebekah, she's a hard worker, and that internal referral is a really good resource. So I'm glad that you asked. It is okay to use those. You do have to make sure you have permission from the friend or the person who's working in the company before you use their name. So if it's your uncle and he happens to work for the company, but you've never talked about the job opportunity with him, and you just name drop, and he gets called, but, oh, I see your niece is applying for this job, but he didn't know that you were, that creates some complications. So be over clear in your communication. Let them know that you're using their name. I think it's okay to ask a friend to give you a referral. That might be company by company based, but in the academic realm, it's absolutely okay because they want to know what kind of worker you are. So if a friend can accurately say, yes, Rebekah is a hard worker, she'll present all of her lessons on time, they want to know that. As to someone who's not a friend, I think what's most important is that the person who is referring you knows your work ethic, knows your work. So if it's a friend of a friend, if it's a former professor who maybe isn't your best friend but knows that you get all of your homework in on time, you don't have typos, I think it's okay to use that as a referral, but make sure you're not just choosing a random person. They should be able to talk about you as an employee and not just you as a person outside of work. It's a really good question.
Thank you, Adelina, for the questions. I'm going to go to the Cambodia audience first. And okay, so which one of these? The Cambodia question is through Facebook Live. Okay, good. Okay, then, Bu Dewi, please.
Okay, 2 questions from Cambodia because they such lost connection. So first, should we include my award if that award doesn't match with the position I apply? That's number 1. Number 2 is, what should I do if I haven't had any job experience or just a little bit of volunteer experience? Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question. I'm the Asian Games gold medalist, right? Should I put that in the resume?
Again, I think it depends on the job you're applying for. Let's say in high school, you were awarded Best Smile. Okay? That's something we do in America. We give out these like really strange awards for some reason to the senior class. If I'm applying, again, to be not to rag on my brother's profession, but a computer software designer, it's not important that I have the greatest smile. But if you're applying for an internship in retail or consumer marketing or something like that, it could be okay to include. Make sure it's relevant. If it doesn't apply to the job skills required, then don't include it. But again, I think something as simple as voted best smile, voted most energetic or enthusiastic, those actually pertain to a lot of jobs in the job field. But if it's something that doesn't really correlate with your goal job, don't include it. Would you agree? I think it's okay, again, especially if you're fresh out of university or maybe even applying out of high school, to include some of the awards you've gotten, even if they're not professional awards. It's still a reflection of who you are and what you can bring to the job. And
okay, and the second question is, if you have little or no experience at all, how do we populate our resume? Or what
that is a good and difficult question. I think everybody has experience. Everybody has skills that are applicable to jobs. So what you have to do is sort of look at your life experience through a different lens. Maybe you didn't have a paid job, but maybe you always helped clean up the classroom and you can have ask a teacher to describe you to you. Maybe a teacher thinks you're really hardworking and dedicated. Yes, that's not a job, but being a student is a full-time job. So it's okay to use those experiences that you have from high school or from university and apply them to a future job you hope to get. So if you don't have work experience or professional work experience, what I would think you do is flip the arrangement of your resume. So you can still start with a skills summary, energetic, motivated, self-directed, but then move on to education and highlight your education next. And maybe leave the work skills and work experience for the bottom and go into more detail about classes you've taken or advanced classes you've taken, honors classes you've taken, any experience and participation, again, in student clubs and organizations. If you were the vice president of the track club or the volleyball club, that's okay to add because it talks about leadership skills, managing skills, time organization. So I think it's okay to highlight experiences from your education and academic realm to supplement that professional realm.
Okay, got it. Any other questions from my friends in Philippines or Cambodia, or from people in this room? There's a question from Philippines. Very good. Hi. Yes, I can see you're raising your hand. Can you identify yourself and ask the question, please? She's gone. Oh.
Yes, hello, we're from the Philippines. Here's our question. How must we present ourselves that we are competent enough to got the job, but as much as possible, we wanted to present ourselves in a way that's more humble, more humble.
We got your question, but we don't get your name. Can you please tell us your name?
I'm Daniel A. Alcano from Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan.
Thank you for that. So the question is to be humble, but also to look competent. So what would you suggest?
Yeah, great question. Thanks for asking. Thanks for being brave to ask. There is a big difference between being full of oneself is a phrase that we like to use, where all you can do is talk about how good you are and not highlight that the co-working experiences you've had. So if you worked on a team, maybe you had a specific job in that team, you were the note taker, okay? You can highlight those skills, but also reflect the teamwork that happened. Collaboration or collaborated is an excellent word to use on your resume. It means that you brought skills to a group and you worked those skills in with skills from other people. You're being humble, but also you're talking about, I have people skills. You know, I have social skills, I have management skills. I think a question you can ask yourself when you're writing adjectives and descriptions about yourself is, it's tough. Would I say this just to get the job, or would I say this because I can bring something good to the job? Am I boasting about my skills because I want to have the best job, or I want to look like the best employee in the world and it's about me, me, me? Or am I using these skills and highlighting these experiences because I can bring positive things to a job and collaborate once I'm at that job? Because once you're at the job, it's not going to be you alone working. So if you think you're the best employee in the entire world and you can't work with anyone else because they're below you, then you're probably bragging. Then you're being boastful. Being humble is also being honest. And if you are very good at working with customers, there's no shame in being honest about that and saying, excellent customer relations. That's truthful, it's honest, and it's delivering a clear message to the employer without saying, best customer relations in the world, okay? There's different ways to phrase when you're being humble but confident and being boastful.
Thank you. So the word that we choose is also very, very important to give the characters of what you are, right? So is there any other questions from Philippines or from Cambodia? Yeah, please go ahead. I saw sunshine on your T-shirt. Please come forward and tell us your name and your question, please.
Cambodia, Cambodia. And my question for today is, for the internship program, we have reference like the passion of the passion inside, and also like the bit and the skill that we study in school, but they can. So which one is better for us to choose for our internship program?
So, I didn't get your questions. Can you move a little bit closer to the microphone, wherever the microphone is? Right, thank you. Thank you.
The question is, we have
me clarify to make sure I understood your question. You're asking about the difference between the passions you might have in a versus the skills you have or the things you studied in school, but maybe you're not as passionate about? Are you saying which skill set should you emphasize? Or did I totally mishear that?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's important that you are passionate about your job. If you're good at your job, but you're not intrigued by it, you're not challenged by it, you're not going to remain committed. If you're interested and passionate about the subject area, so if you are passionate about technology and being in the tech industry, I think it's really good to highlight that. Even if you haven't taken every technology class or course, it's good to supplement, I have a strong passion for engaging with the technological industry and counteracting your academic skills by also saying what you're passionate about, because you might not have had the opportunity to take a class in something you are passionate about. But if you're applying for that, it's okay to express your passion and what you care about, because employers want you to care about the job. They don't want the job just to be done at the end of the day. They want it to be done really well. And people who are passionate about their jobs will go above and beyond to excel in their job. So I think it's good to highlight both your academic coursework skills, but also your skills in areas of passion if they're outside of the academic realm.
Right. Thank you for that. Any one last questions? Wow. Okay, two last questions, and oh, three last questions. Okay, three last questions.
I'll answer them quickly.
And we're gonna take all together, and then Rebekah will answer it.
Can someone get him a microphone?
Lady, please. Okay, over here first, because we got the microphone there.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mutiara. We come from L7 Foundation in Jakarta, the foundation for all the blind. I want to ask about, especially for disability people, Ms. Rebekah, how to make many people believe and sure that we can do everything, and for looking for the job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mutiara. Can I go to the woman with in white shirt, please?
We'll get all the questions first, and
And
then
then we
I'll
are
answer them.
Right.
Thank you. My name is Putri. I'm from Gajah Mada University. I would like to ask, sometimes the company asks not only the resume, but CV. And I would like to know the differences between resume and CV. Thank you.
Good question. One last question from here before we have Rebekah to answer these questions.
Okay, thank you for the time. I want to ask if we want to apply for an unsolicited job, how to make our resume or CV impressive to the employer. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll try to answer these chronologically. So the first question was, how can we express to employers that employees with disabilities are just as competent, just as active in the job field? And I think you can do that with a resume. I absolutely think that you can do that with a resume, because a resume is a piece of paper you create that is a self-expression of your skills. And so they don't know anything about you but what you put on there. And so if you want to highlight your disability and talk about how you've overcome certain challenges, absolutely go ahead and do that. If you don't want to emphasize that, but you want to emphasize other work experience that you've had in the past, go ahead. This is your opportunity to express your skills and your strength. And believe me, if you have a company that doesn't want to hire you because of a disability, it's not a company you want to work for. You want a company that supports you and promotes you and continues to challenge you to become a better worker in any field and in any industry. So don't be ashamed of the skills and the experience you bring to the job. The next question was
resume versus CV.
the difference between a resume and a CV. Good question. I'm not 100% sure. I have both. To be honest, in America, most jobs are asking you to have a resume. In Europe, and I'm not sure the case in Asian countries, but they ask you to have a CV. It's the same information, the formatting is different. So you don't have to rewrite all of the information and start from scratch. What you'll want to do is, depending on the job you're applying for, they will say, send us a CV or send us a resume. It's their job to be clear with you what they want. If they want a CV, it's more about reformatting and reorganizing the information. It's not starting over. I hope that was somewhat helpful. I don't have, I'm a hands-on learner. I don't have an example of a CV to put on the screen, unfortunately, but it shouldn't be redoing the entire project. You can use a lot of the information from your resume to create the CV. And the final question.
And it's actually your final remarks as well, because basically her question is, how to make like an impressive, how to impress employer with your CV in general.
Yeah. You are impressive. You are competent. You are an excellent employee. The way that you can show that is by giving them clear, concise, direct vocabulary, removing typos. Having typos does not help your case. It does not give you confidence in the workplace. Being honest about who you are and what you bring to the job. I think it's all about your mindset, and that's not something I can give you or change for you, but the fact that you're already here, you're already investing in your future and researching the best things to get you hired means that you are competent and that you should be confident going forth.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that last word, Rebekah. Please join me in giving Rebekah a round of applause. And with that, I wanted to directly go to Lina to present more about P&G and some of these questions that raised. If you want to address them, please do so, and enjoy the water, Rebekah. Please, the floor is yours, Lina.
Okay, so first of all, thanks for the committee for inviting me to be part of this event. It's been a pleasure to meet all of you guys here physically and virtually, right, from the Philippines and from the Cambodia. So I think the committee has chosen a very interesting topic for me. Why? Because I was in your positions before, like many years ago. I was the one who wants to apply an internship, but now I'm becoming the one who may want to hire one of you as an intern, right? So I'll try my best to share my personal experience based on these two angles. So hopefully this will be helpful for your first job applications and also internship applications. Okay? So before I start my presentations, let me introduce myself. My name is Lina Dewi, but you can call me Lina. I've been working in P&G for 5 years. I studied in Faculty Economics of University of Indonesia, majoring finance. I shift gear to HR professional, started my career in P&G as an HR intern. My current role is HR transition leader for Merck acquisition in Indonesia. Okay, so that's my professional life. From my personal life, I'm married. My husband is also working in P&G. We are blessed to have a baby boy who is 7 months old right now. And during my free time, I love cooking, I love traveling, and I love doing yoga. Okay? So without further ado, let me start my presentations. So before I start, let me ask you questions. What do you think about internship? just one word should be okay as well. So when I ask or when I mention internship, what do you have in mind? Anyone? Volunteer? Sorry? Interesting, okay. What else? Development, okay. Sorry? Short term, okay. What else? Experience. So actually, that's the word can describe internship, right? But if you are looking at a very theoretical definitions, when you Google, you will see these definitions. Basically, it's a position for a student, right, or a trainee who works in an organization with or without pay in order to gain work experience or satisfy requirement for a qualifications. So this is a very theoretical definitions, right? So from my personal experience, in a simple way, internship is a time for me as an intern to know, to understand, to assess whether I'm fit to the company, whether I'm fit to the job or not. At the same time, it's time for the company to assess whether I'm fit to the job, whether I can contribute to the company or not. So actually, it's a mutual interest between the intern and also the company. So it's a very interesting experience. What I'm going to share today is basically a tips, life hack, if you want to be a successful intern. Okay? So I had 2 internship experience. The first one is in a business consulting company. At that time, I was assigned to do a research for Indonesia insurance industry because I graduated I studied finance at that time. The second one is HR internship in PNG. And at that time, I was assigned to revamp Indonesia recruitment strategy. So based on those 2 experiences, there are some learnings that I would like to share with all of you guys here. The first one, don't be a follower. What does it mean, right? So first, you need to be very clear on why do you want to have an intern. Is it because you want to get paid? Is it because you want to gain some skills, some learnings? But you need to be very clear. Is it you want to gain a problem-solving skills, or analytical thinking, or budgeting skills, anything. But you need to define, even since the beginning before you apply an intern, right? And then don't focus on which company, but focus on which skills that you want to learn. Second, sometimes when you apply an internships, your friends may get confirmations earlier than you. So they have been confirmed by the company that, okay, you have an internship experience. You have an internship project. But you haven't got any update, or you haven't got any confirmations. Don't worry, be patient, and be clear, because you want to learn something. Don't just focus on the company itself, because it's better to have a big responsibility in not so big company instead of the other way around. So again, focus on the learning, right? Second, keep it simple. What does it mean, right? So as Rebekah shared earlier, when you apply an intern or first job, you need to prepare your resume. You need to prepare your CV. But again, it has to be simple. It has to be concise and powerful. Again, the reviewer only have very limited time to review your resume. So how to make it stunning so that you are hireable. The next one, be true of yourself. Rebekah keeps saying that don't lie, right? Because it's true. as a company, as an employer, when we review your resume, basically throughout the recruitment process, from reviewing your resume, and then online test, written test, FGD interview, we will assess you. A very good interviewer can easily identify whether you are put the honest and genuine informations, or you just make up for the sake of job applications. So be careful, just be honest and genuine, input your informations there in your resume. And then once the company give you an experience to have an internship, when you are trusted to have an internship experience or the first employment job, you need to be accountable. Probably you cannot give your 100%, but 120% of your best performance. Because as I said earlier, an internship, actually it's the time for the company to assess whether you are capable, whether you are fit for a company, whether you can contribute for a company or not. So within that short period of time, you need to be well performed, you need to give your best performance, because again, it's time for a company and you as well to assess, right? The last one, again, it's about building your skill. It's about develop yourself. So first, you need to find an internship which give you or which allow you to learn something, which allow you to have a big responsibility since the beginning, which allow you to give you a fulfilling experience, and it's not just a clerical job. So when you find an internship, when you look at in the internet or anywhere, you need to be very clear on what responsibility that the company will give to you. The last one, it's not about just building the skill, but it's also how do you build the network, how you enjoy your work. So you need to build your networking with the colleagues. You can participate in any informal events that probably the company holds for the employee. So you need to be active, not only in your project itself, but how do you collaborate with other team in the organizations as well. So I know it's very short because I want to keep a longer period for Q&A. If the audience have questions, please feel free to ask questions. Okay?
Thank you, Lina. One of the things that I have a question in mind is, are you a Chelsea Football Club fan? I saw there's a Chelsea.
Yes, I do.
That's great. That's great. That's qualified for whatever jobs you're. Okay. Anyway, is there any questions from the floor to ask to Lina on the life at P&G and how do we get the jobs at P&G and so on? Please identify yourself.
Okay. My name is Malfi. I want to ask, the earlier you said you are an intern in human research in P&G, right? So how can an intern can be a real employee in that company like you did? Can you give us tips and tricks for that? Thank you.
Okay. So I had my internship in 2011. At that time, I was in my 7th semester. So before I joined P&G internship, I participate in one of business challenge which P&G has at that time. So after I joined that business challenge, I joined as a P&G internship. Usually in P&G we have three months internship. So it actually it's very short, but we have a very comprehensive review, meaning that during your interview, we have 2 times of review, mid-review and final review. So basically, as long as you are perform, as long as you can meet all the expectations that has been set in the beginning to you, and then at the same time, the company has vacant positions. So I'm just sharing the practical way, right? Because it can be you are hireable, but the company doesn't have the vacant positions. So it's not working, right? So if you are hireable and then the company has the vacant positions, then you will be one of the top candidates.
That's a very good question, Afi. Is there any other questions from folks here in the room, or from our friends somewhere in ASEAN? Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you for the time. My name is Evan, and I want to ask 2 questions. The first one, if the applicants boast too much on the resume, and then they are accepted at the company, and during the internship or the job, they are underperformed from the resume that they have presented before. So how do you, as an HR, which evaluates the employees, work on these things? And the second question, if I, as the applicant, don't have too much experience, especially I'm still a fresh graduate, and I have to come up with the high expectations from the recruiter, what kind of things that I should say in the interview, or I should write on my resume? Thank you.
Very well thought questions, actually. Lina, so number one is, if you actually underperform, how do you cope with that? And number two is, there's a high expectation from companies, especially like company like P&G, right? How do you actually meet that expectation?
Okay, so let me respond the first questions. So I think it's 2 different things. The first one is CV, right? Or the first applications. You may probably you put the wrong informations, or basically you lie. You don't put the right informations, and then the company unfortunately cannot assess or cannot identify that during the interview, right? So fortunately, you are hired by the company. And then after a certain period of time, you cannot perform. You do not perform as we expected before. So if you are in that if you are in that situations, the company will not see your CV like it's the very it's already happened in the past. So we will focus on how do we help this individual to perform. So we have a performance management program in P&G. But again, if we, for example, you are hired and we know that you lie, you don't put the right information, then I don't think, so you need to be ready with the next implications that the company will give.
And then the second question, a lot of graduates actually nervous, the first job, high expectation, what should they actually prepare?
So I think it doesn't matter on which organizations, whether it's big or not. I think as Rebekah shared earlier, you need to highlight on what responsibilities that you have been experienced. It can be as a team leader or just probably ketua kelas, right? It should be okay. You don't need to be, you don't need to use a fancy word like the project officer, the president, the vice president, and so on. As long as you are trusted to have certain responsibility, actually you can just sell that in your resume.
Thank you, Lina. I wanted to go to my Filipinos colleagues and friends to see if there is any questions from your end that you wanted to raise. I'm gonna count to 3. If not, I'm gonna open it up again. Okay. Okay, please.
Yes, sir. Are all interns paid? Sir?
Not really, but we can try if you speak slowly.
Oh, hello, sir. It's a very short question. Are all interns paid?
Okay. I think it really depends on the company, right? So in PNG, it's paid. But probably in other company, it's not paid. So it depends. You can clarify that during your recruitment process. Sometimes they put it in their website during job applications. But if they don't put there, you can clarify that during the interview or offering process.
So apply to PNG so you get paid as an intern. Any other questions from colleagues from Philippines? Okay.
What's the difference between internship and OJT on the job training?
That's a very good question. On job training and internship, what's the difference, Lina?
So internship is usually it's short time, and it's not permanent job. While OJT usually it's the beginning prior to full-time job. So that's the big difference. Am I addressing your questions?
So Lina, you're saying that on-job training means you're already full-time,
right?
Right, but you're training,
right?
While internship, you're not yet
Permanent
permanently
yes.
employed, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Does that address your question?
So some companies say it's on-the-job training, sometimes management training. So it depends how they call it.
Okay. Any questions from this room? Wow. Okay, this room has so many questions. Okay, I'll go with the male first. Gender equality, male first, and then the ladies. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Ryan. As we all know that most of young people these days are using social media, and my question is that true that a lot of companies these days are checking the young people's social media to see their behavior or something like that? Thank you.
Very good questions. Okay, Lina, with your permission, I'm gonna take some other
Sure,
questions
sure.
as well. Ladies, please.
Miss Lina, I'm B from the University of Sahid, Jakarta. Yes, I wanted to ask you, by your observation, after with long CV you write, which is the takes part of hirements in maybe writing CV or another job application phase, and then interview, which is the most takes part on hirements? That's my questions. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. You have the lady in blue.
Hello, my name is Kintar. I'm from Bandung Institute of Technology. So I want to ask about having an internship in foreign country. Is it possible? And how to make ourselves catchy as a hireable employee? Thank you.
Thank you. And I know a gentleman over there also have one questions.
Check. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Didi. I want to ask you, Ms. Lina, how can we face the difficult in when we hired in some company or internship? Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't get the question.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Again? Sorry for that.
I will repeat.
Thank you, Didi.
How can we face the difficult job when we hired?
So how do you face a difficult job when
Yes,
we are hired after we hire? Okay, good questions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Lina, just to remind you, okay, one by one. So now the first one is social media. How, do you actually stalk people when you do the hiring?
Okay, so I think it really depends on the company, but it definitely, it's not how PNG works. So one of the principles on our hiring process, we avoid any bias. So when we get any CV, so we will not do a background check of this individual. So we will just, based on your CV, we will see whether you pass all the recruitment process, which is the online test, written test, and then if you pass all these things, you will be invited for an interview round. So usually during the interview, we will know the individual better, right? So social media is definitely not one of our source of information.
Okay, thank you. The second question is it more important the interview or the papers, the resume and cover letters and all that? Which one is more important?
Okay, actually it's in sequence, right? So the first time, so the first point or the first point is definitely your CV. So if you want to pass for the next round, then you need to make sure that you have a good CV. You need to make sure that the recruiter will pass, will review, and will convince that you are the right person, that you are the fit person for the company, and then after that, the other recruitment process will follow. So I think all the steps are important. You cannot miss one of them.
Okay. So the next question is it possible to have an internship in foreign countries? I mean, from PNG, or if you have any information from other companies as well?
I think for multinational companies, that's very doable. Like in PNG we have. I know in some other companies like Microsoft and so on, they also have it. So in PNG, usually we have internship in Indonesia, but we can also send some of our talents to other countries as long as they have internship opportunities, as long as the work permit is approved by the government, that's okay. That's totally doable.
Okay, very good. The last one is from Didi, right? How do you actually face a difficult job when you get into the company, right? I'm sure when you get into the company, then you're gonna given a lot of tasks that maybe you are not prepared to, or your skills are not there yet. But how do you actually face that? And especially you, I was looking at your CV as well. I mean, your profile, and then you were from finance, and then you become the HR. It must be like, I don't know, two different worlds, I thought. So maybe you have a experience on that?
Okay. So this is just my personal experience. Probably Rebekah can share her experience too. But I think in every job you will face difficulties. And how do we face that? I think first, you need to be persistent. You need to be committed. You need to make sure that you can meet all the deliverables that has been set to you. And then I think you need to keep learning. Like you said, right? I probably from different major, but I think because I keep learning, I want to learn something new every day, so that it's not a barrier for me to grow myself, to develop myself, even in a new field. Rebekah probably
Great,
can add.
right. So I was just gonna say, Rebekah, if you have 30 seconds or something that you wanted to share your experience in that field before I get back to Lina for the final thought.
Yeah, I have been hired for jobs that I didn't have the best experience for. For example, I moved to Budapest several years ago to become a teacher, but I had not studied teaching, and I did not know how to teach, and I did not speak Hungarian. And so the first day of class and the first several months of class were extremely difficult because they changed the schedule on me 3 or 4 times without telling me. So I would expect grade 4 to come in, and grade 12 came in. And so it was complicated, but that's part of learning a job, is you think on your feet. That's an idiom we like to use, is you think as quickly as you can, and you adapt. And you will continue to adapt even if you've had the same job for 20 years. It's a lifelong skill.
Right, so difficulties is actually give you opportunity to learn. That's what you're saying, right? Lina, any last final thought or suggestion from all people here on how do you actually excel in internship and get a job and then get to the company, basically?
Yeah, I think first be clear on what you want to learn of having that internship. Once you know on what skills, you check or you find which companies or which company that provide that experience to you, and then once you get it, then you just to make sure that you are committed on what you have been entrusted.
Thank you so much, Lina. Please join me in giving a round of applause to Lina and again Rebekah for their thoughts. And I wanted to take about 3 minutes of your time here to show you what we've been doing at the U.S. Mission to ASEAN and U.S. ASEAN Business Council on promoting internship at the U.S. companies. And for that, I would like to invite my colleague Alia to come to the stage to explain opportunities that P&G and also other companies have. So Alia, I'll give this microphone to you too.
Let us wait for the website to show up. Okay, here. So a big part of the U.S. ASEAN internship program is the U.S. ASEAN internship website. So this is a website with the main aim of this website is to kind of pull information about U.S. companies' internship openings in Southeast Asia for ASEAN students. So if you can see up here, we have 7 companies joining the program. We have Access Partnership, Cisco, GE, Seagate, and P&G as well. And we're hoping to expand this number as the program grows as well. So if you're ready to look for the openings that you think you want, you can scroll up again and click the Apply Now button. Through this, you'll be directed to a page where you can filter internships openings based on your desired internship locations and your majors. So, for example, if you do finance, you can simply put you can choose finance from the box and look at the numerous openings that are available. We have mostly GE interns right now and P&G, a couple of P&G as well. You can click one of the openings that you might be interested. For example, I want the P&G because she's here. Yeah. And choose the finance controller, for example. Oh, that's in Malaysia. It's okay. Choose that one. Oh, sorry, P&G. Go back. Yeah, let's get the summer internship in Singapore, all functions. So finance can also apply. So if you've heard Rebekah before, this is an important part. Make sure you read this and make sure that you are the person that these companies are looking for. And if you think that you're interested in the job and that you match the profile that you're looking for, proceed to apply by clicking the Apply Now button, pretty easy and straightforward. And you will be directed to a link that will direct you to the official side of the companies. And you can apply through this website. So yeah, that's pretty easy and straightforward. So good luck with your internship search.
All right, thank you so much, Alia, for that that introduction. So please visit the page there and then apply to these great US companies. I wanted to give this microphone and to welcome the US ASEAN Connect Director, Mr. Peter Torin, to the stage to deliver closing remarks and talk about internship program as well. Peter.
Thanks, Mario. Thanks. I'd like to say, I'm Peter Thorne. I'm with the U.S. mission to ASEAN, based here in Jakarta. I just wanted to say thanks to everybody at America for hosting us today. Thanks a lot to Rebekah and Lina for joining us, and of course, thanks to Mario for keeping us on schedule all afternoon here. And I hope this was of value to you guys as well. You know, I've been in the working world for a long time. But we all started off the same way. We had a lot of enthusiasm and not a lot of work skills, not a lot of job experience. But we all found our way through the job market, and I also started off with a couple of internships and got some valuable work experience, and somehow ended up with a career that I actually loved. We got lucky. So, you know, our former president, John F. Kennedy, once said, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." So I hope this is one of the steps that you will take on your journey. And we'd like to help you along the way. At the U.S. mission to ASEAN, we have a few different missions, one of which is we want to help U.S. companies. We want to help them succeed here in Southeast Asia. But another part of our role is helping to develop the next generation of young leaders here in Southeast Asia. And this internship program that we have together with U.S. ASEAN Business Council is a way for us to hit both of those goals. As you've seen, there's a lot of U.S. companies that are out there. They're looking for the best talent. We're trying to help them find the talent, and we would like to help you find jobs with those companies. You know, just the fact that you're here today means you already have the language skills. You have the interest in working for a foreign company, and maybe even working for a company in another country. So I would like to encourage you to keep an eye on that website that Elia just demonstrated. There's going to be more companies in more countries as we recruit more companies to join this program. We hope next summer there will be a lot more for you to choose from. And also keep an eye on America's event calendar. We're hoping to have more events like this, job-related and internship-related, to help promote this internship program over the next year. So keep an eye, and please do come back and join us again someday. Thanks, everybody.
Another round of applause, please, for our speakers today. And that's it for our event today. And hope to see you guys at another America event. Bye. Have a great evening, everyone.